You had the stopwatch on.
Okay, we'll call our meeting to order this evening. Our city clerk, Melissa, will take roll call.
Commissioner Bauer,
Here.
Commissioner Maxon,
Here.
Commissioner York,
Here.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Here.
Mayor Van Oster.
Here. Tonight, our invocation will be given by Pastor Joel Thompson of the Coffeyville Central Nazarene Church. We welcome you here this evening and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Commissioners, City staff, and fellow residents. Thank you for giving me this opportunity again to come here and give the invocation. It feels almost like Super Bowl Sunday here this morning. I think everybody's at the park today. Yeah. But please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we just want to come to you tonight, and God, we know that we're living in some unprecedented times. And God, it seems like so many things are happening that just divide us as a city, as a country. And God, I just want to pray for all of us with that. God, I especially want to lift up the folks in our community that have made a commitment to protect and serve us. So God, I just want to lift up our police department here in town. I want to lift up the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department. God, I just pray that you keep them safe, keep them working with integrity. God, I also want to lift up our Madam Mayor and our City Commission and our city staff and all the city leaders that are here. God, help them to just continue to lead our city well. And God, last but not least, I want to lift us up as residents. And God, I just pray that we can really live into the pledge that we're going to make here soon. And just, God, help us to be indivisible. Help us to live under the banner that I think we can all share as a common goal, which is just trying to make our community even better than it is now. So God, we invite you to join us. And God, we just thank you for everything. And God, we ask these things in the name of your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll have a quick review of our agenda. Is there anything that anybody wants to change? See changes or anything?
I did not.
Okay, then we will move on to our next is our consent agenda. We have 3 items on there this evening. The first is our City Commission meeting minutes from Tuesday, July 27th, 2021. The second is action to appoint Mike Shook as director and Mark Hall as alternate to the KMGA Board of Directors, serving until August 31st, 2023. And the third item is our 2021 Appropriation Ordinance number AO-21-15 in the amount of $938,469.26. Now, the second item I know in our packets was a sheet prepared by Melissa. Do you have anything you want to say specific on that other than the appointments?
No, it's just the appointments to reappoint. They had served the last 2 years to reappoint them for the next 2.
Right.
Okay, all right. And then do we have anything over the minutes or the appropriation ordinance anybody wants to say?
I can go through the appropriation
Okay.
ordinance.
Okay,
It's kind of a breakdown. It was a relatively small appropriation ordinance
Yeah.
compared to what we've had the last couple, but we spent $8,501 to Asplin for tree trimming, BG and Son 1776 for weed lot mowing, Brentag 12,710 for polymer, City of Coffeyville 15,695, that was for utilities at a couple different locations here. CRMC $74,081 for sales tax distribution. Diversified electrical supplies for $18,973, and that's for street lights and poles. Fitch ratings, and that's $10,000, and that's for bond rating fee. Hawkins, and that's $2,017 for chemicals. Grand Construction, $33,870, and that's for payment on Highland Road. KMGA for gas supply, $32,486, and that's for fuel gas purchases. Meriton Health, $36,660, and that's for health insurance. Midwest Electrical Transformers, $42,365. The Nile Hotel, $3,506, and that's for sales tax distribution. The Rhino Steel Building that we approved at the last meeting, that was down payment $21,158. That will be installed at Emergency Services, so we can put all of our equipment under one location. Thank you. And Trans System Corporation, $6,137 for professional services. Utility Financial Solutions, $3,000, and that's for analysis. And then our payroll is $384,462.29.
Okay. All right, anybody have anything else?
Pretty well covered it.
Okay, if not, then I will move to approve items 1 through 3 of the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Bauer to approve items 1 through 3 of the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Maxon.
Aye.
Commissioner York.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan.
Aye.
Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Bauer.
Aye.
Next item on our agenda, comments from the public. Any citizen desiring to address the commission shall be recognized. Please advance to the podium, state his or her name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by a vote of the majority of the commission. The commission does not hear matters involving litigation or city personnel. The commission does not take action on subjects that are not on the agenda unless unusual or hardship conditions exist. Citizens may address the commission on agenda items as they are brought to the floor. Do we have anybody here this evening for anything? We don't? Okay, then we will move on. We do not have any public hearings, special presentations, or proclamations this evening, nor do we have any old business. We will move on to new business. Resolution R-21-49, which is a resolution to authorize the purchase of LED roadway lighting fixtures for the electric utility. Our Electric Services Compliance Manager, Mr. Don Onslager, will make comments.
Mayor, Commissioners, I'm bringing before you tonight a resolution to purchase stock LED roadway lighting fixtures. The electric utility has been upgrading street and roadway lighting for the last 2 years. Our initial project was downtown decorative lighting project, followed by the Highway 166-169 Bridge Corridor and Willow Street project, to most recently the completed Patterson Boulevard conversion to LED. The next phase of our plan is to upgrade the remaining corridors, 11th Street, 8th Street, and Northeast, to Willow Street, Walnut, south of 11th, and west of Willow, and around CRMC. As part of the plan, we also intend to upgrade residential interior roadway lighting to LED on an as-needed basis as the existing high-pressure sodium lights currently in place fail, replacing with new LED fixtures. Pricing has been received for 4 levels of roadway lighting from 5 vendors, as illustrated on the attachments and the quote summary. Quantities listed are both for specific planned projects, including stock supply. The staff is recommending that the mayor be authorized to direct the financial director to issue a purchase order in the amount of $83,305.74 to SMC Corporation of Coffeyville, with local vendor preference for the purchase of 310 LED lighting fixtures as specified for the electric utility. And if you have any questions, I'll try to.
I see your 4 of your 5 bidders were pretty darn close. But of course, with the 3% leeway there to give to local preference, which
Exactly.
I think is good, as long as they've met all your specs, which, looking
They
through
have.
everything, I can see that they match up to what you need. So I will say Patterson Boulevard looks great, downtown looks good, the Willow Street between 11th and 8th. It all looks good. So this
It's-
is just more and more things,
It's
that you
much,
do.
much better lighting for the
Yes.
public.
right.
It's just a cleaner light, and it's more economical as well, so.
That is
I was
correct.
gonna add, I don't know if you know per fixture, and it's probably an unfair question to hit you with out of the blue, but do you know, per
on some of-
fixture, what's the savings as far as energy
I can reference
consumption?
downtown.
Mhm.
Those were, the old fixtures were 150 watt sodium,
Right.
and the new ones are 42 watts.
Yeah.
Well, there's two different sizes, 35 watt and a 42.
So less than a third of the power to operate them
Yeah,
per fixture.
so the more we get them replaced, the more economical overall it's gonna be for Coffeyville.
And how often would you have to change out a sodium?
That I don't have an answer to.
Okay.
I know on the LEDs, like the ones downtown, they had a 5-year warranty.
Mhm.
If any of them go bad within 5 years, we just call them and they replace the lights free of charge. So,
Good deal. It's a smart way to go.
It is. Very, very good. If there are any other further questions? If not, I will move to approve resolution number R-21-49 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Maxon to approve Resolution R-21-49. Commissioner York.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan.
Aye.
Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Maxon.
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Don,
Thanks,
for all
Don.
your work on that. Much appreciated. Okay, moving on, we will go to Resolution R-21-50, which is a resolution to accept a grant agreement with the Kansas State Historical Society for a 2021 Kansas Rural Preservation Grant. Our Special Projects Coordinator, Mr. Chuck Shively, will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, this item is for approval of the grant agreement for the Kansas Rural Preservation Grant from the Kansas Historical Society for repair and preservation of the old Condon Bank building metal facade. As we previously discussed, it's a 90% grant up to $50,000, and the city has a 10% share. So I recommend approval of the resolution authorizing acceptance of the grant and authorizing the mayor to sign all required documents. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I have no questions. I think it's, when you can spend 5,000 and get 50,
Yes.
that's a pretty good investment on,
Yes.
so.
And it much needed to be done
Yes.
and to preserve that building.
Stop the,
Yes, yes, yes. Any other questions?
Nope. I'll move to, go ahead. I'll move to approve Resolution R-21-50 as presented.
Motion is made by Commissioner Bauer, seconded by Commissioner York to approve Resolution R-21-50. Vice Mayor Doan.
Aye.
Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Maxon.
Aye.
Commissioner York.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
Chuck.
you, Chuck, for everything. Our next item on our agenda is Resolution R-21-51, which is a resolution authorizing a special question election in the city of Coffeyville. Our city manager, Mr. Mark Hall, will make comments on this.
And I'll turn a flip if I can't get up and move while I talk, so you'll have to excuse, and hopefully people can hear, but it is, Mayor and Commissioners, tonight we're going to discuss, with your approval, to place on the November 2nd election, a special question involving a future expiring half-cent sales tax. So,
Excuse me, Mark, I don't think they can hear you.
Okay,
So maybe if you can stand at the podium,
yeah,
please.
that even sounds- there we go.
There you go.
Okay,
You can still move that way. Yeah.
yeah, I might have to turn it this way. As you're aware, the expiring sales tax in September 30th of 2022 The commission wanted to put this to a general election vote. Of course, it is in your power to do a special election or a mail-in ballot. But it is one of those, I think you want the input and understanding from the entire community, and that is in a general election. There is, and to explain that this is not a new sales tax. This is an expiring. It is not increasing the current sales tax. This is something that is expiring, and it is to repurpose what it was used for before. That is, as far as it's the community, when they go to the cash register, should they vote to approve this, they will notice no difference. They will notice no difference when they buy products and the sales tax is figured. So that's a positive note because you're not raising it or making it new. It is a fair tax. It is one of those that this relieves the obligation of property tax payers for paying for things that would benefit Coffeyville. It is based on use. Is anytime you go to a store and purchase items, that tax is placed on those, and that's how we get these projects done. It is estimated that 33% of the sales tax collected, of this .5 comes from people living outside the city limits coming into Coffeyville to purchase. Therefore, what you're considering tonight, a third of everything that is talked about will be paid for by people coming into town and making purchases. It is one of those, this is 100% of the sales tax collection stays in Coffeyville. This does not go outside the city limits. So what is collected is for Coffeyville. It is 100% of the collection will be used for park improvements, housing, and historic downtown. The sales tax revenue will be leveraged to any grants that are available to extend that collection and do more for the community with that. It is one of those, this is 10-year park improvements, and this will have budgets. And as we discussed, when we discussed the parks, and you'll see later on this slide, we will tell you what year this will be done. And we can show you, and some things could alter a little, but we'll show you what will be done over the next 10-year period. That is the same with the budget for a historic downtown, and that is same budget for housing. It is one of those, this is a sales tax that truly all Coffeyville can enjoy one way or the other. And they can go out and actually see, touch, and feel everything that's being done. And that is a pretty good thing. This is your sales tax question. It is one of those. This is, if approved by the commission, will be put before the voters. 40% of the proceeds will be used for housing and economic development. 40% of the sales tax will be used for public parks and related community improvements. And 20% of the proceeds will be used for economic development purposes related to the city's historic downtown. So if you add those percentages, that is 100%. And when that collection's made, that's how it would be divided up in each of those funds. Right now, it's a funding for the future. It's the .5. It is one of those that the community, this will be their .5. It will build tomorrow's Coffeyville. This is to give you an example of what all it will do for housing. This is, if you look on the left side of the screen, these are different agencies that we would be using throughout 10 years. And that consists of HUD, USDA, and of course the state of Kansas. What we would like to do with that sales tax is to be able to piggyback and offer, and if you see in the center column, these are the things that the city would offer from that half-cent sales tax. And that is, as far as, there's the first-time home buyer program, and of course there's limited funds, but we would do the most with it. It is one of those that we have as far as single family incentive for those that are building single family homes in Coffeyville. They would receive an incentive. Then there is multifamily, and that is an incentive that is paid per door. Per door. So a duplex, you would receive two. If you built a 100 room apartment complex, then they would receive that times 100, that benefit. It is one of those, and of course that would be a game changer in Coffeyville. It is, there is also, which we designed 2 programs that are for senior citizens and disabled. This is a weatherization. They would fill out an application to qualify, and it would give them this amount based on, not to exceed, but their receipt for that to be done. The next one is emergency repairs. They would be based on receipt and not to exceed the amount that we would give, and it would be one of those for emergency repairs to those who qualify for the program. The last is, and it's something that would be for, and we could expand that at any time, is the Paint the Town project. That is, and right now it's roughly figured, that is for about 50 to 70 homes being painted. We would utilize the community. The homeowner can paint it themselves. It is not for commercial rental, but it is for homeowners. Of course, we would seek assistance, and that's part of our job, from the community, such as youth groups, civic organizations, to come out and assist them, and especially if they're elderly, painting their home. So these are projects that we would utilize with that money. Of course, if there is anything needed through an incentive program by the federal government, those funds could be used for. What you see on the right side is basically what we would do in putting out the information of the local programs. This would be a pamphlet distributed. It'd be a trifold, and it would explain how you qualify and what to do. The next is why is housing important? I think you're aware of these, and I will go briefly through it. Since 1960, basically Coffeyville in 1960 had a population of 7,382. As of, which an updated number, and we're still waiting on the 2020 official census, but it is one of those, as of 2019, it was reported 9,275. In that 60 years, roughly, Coffeyville has lost a population of 46.64%. It is one of those that we know currently now, which why is housing is needed, is that 35% of Coffeyville's workforce lives in Coffeyville. The 65% at night leaves Coffeyville, and they go to live outside the city limits, some closer, some further. And I know you're aware of some people live in Bartlesville, some people live in Owasso, they live in Independence, they live all over except for in Coffeyville. It is one of those that it pointed out that our poverty rate now in 19 has jumped to 29.26%. That is we are approaching a third. Right now, 1 out of 3.4 residents in Coffeyville live in poverty, below the poverty line. That is something that why housing is needed to start people as far as the quality of life. It is what that represents based on the new totals is 2,713 residents live in poverty. So, as we go on, you're aware of in 2007 flood. Since that time, we removed, as a result of the flood, 459 homes. It is one of those that after that, and that represents 10% of the housing stock, after that we've also demolished because of blighted conditions, 366. It is one of those that with that there is no longer 825 homes in Coffeyville. And this has an extreme effect on Coffeyville, but it is one of those, and that's with the assistance of a city commissioner, it is roughly 700 homes are still felt substandard. This is, as we go through in the inventory, the majority of our inventory of Coffeyville is pre-1960. The majority of homes are all. Since 2010, roughly any new home construction, and I know we currently have two, but it is one of those has been non-existent. For the future growth of the city, that has to change, because that plays in a factor of any business looking to move into Coffeyville is, are you growing or are you declining as far as population? And housing starts is a good indication. It is that the housing right now, and we go into explaining that housing is in short supply. It is in short supply, and the quality of those homes are detrimental to somebody wanting to move into Coffeyville. The last is we have, it is one of those, the goal of, if obtaining the sales tax for housing is clearly there is employ neighborhood-based housing. It is one of those that we want to, in the adverse and diverse market, we don't want to help one segment, but it is, and two, is attract affordable rental housing. That is for apartment purposes for young professionals, but it's also looking at HUD through the tax credit programs and building those for low income. Of course, the three is expand our home ownership opportunities, and that's where we're looking at stacking with HUD and other organizations of the state to sit there and make it attractive, not only what the city would provide, but what the state or federal government could provide to get people into a new home. And of course, the fourth is promote housing, and it is one of those as partnerships with not only federal but local organizations to make this happen. This is what we intend to do if the public votes it in. It is why it's important. It's a positive economic impact. It is increased community investment. It is improved sustainability for the future of Coffeyville. It's increased desirability of a city. That is what we really want, and that folds into what you propose to put on the sales tax. All these relate to getting Coffeyville back to growth. It is one of those, the long-term public sector savings from economic mobility. That is the fifth, and that is that this affects everything. And it actually, you can change lives in this, and I put the study, is that it says that a child that is born into poverty, that moves out of poverty, has the likelihood of greater success throughout their life. And that is proven. And that would be our goal, is to help and assist, which 29.26% of that living below the poverty line would benefit from. So this is what housing could do if approved. The next, we'll look at park improvements, and what you see here, and it's in the order, if you see up in the corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are the years that those parks would be done. Those that you see in the corner, those would be the budgets for those parks. It would be, in moving through those, the first park that you would see is Sycamore. And this is an elimination of, we pay as we go. So it's not rocket science or favoritism. It's basically on the funds we collect, what we see as a need, and that's how it falls in the order. You can see the last, which is getting through donation. I know there's been some questions about the public about that. The improvement that you see up at Feaster, that was a donation. That is, we are working with, and the commission's working with, private partnership to get donations for parks that need improvement. We will continually, if the public approves this, we will continually do that to make this, our park system, second to none in southeast Kansas. And it is. It's not putting all our eggs in one basket. This will be for the entire community. All parks will see. You do see down there on a south park, that will be moving, which you've been to Exeter, where we cut out a piece of wood because the equipment's so old to make a seat, is there would be a new park for the southern area. There will be out of this a creation, and that is the third park in the central part of the city. The good thing, this does not limit us, because you can have higher sales tax collections which allow you to do more. And that's what we plan to do, and that's why there's other improvements that we'd like to make in the community. So this is what the parks and community improvements are about. This gives you the reason, which you've seen, is city parks encourage active lifestyles. They reduce health costs, getting out and exercising, and doing that. They can do that with grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Anybody can enjoy a park, and I think out of the entire city, everybody has been to a park one time or another in their life. And it is one of those, there's not a financial requirement to visit a park. This is something that child, all they know is my parents took me to a park to have fun and enjoy. And that is something special, and that is goes with housing, because it is one of those, why would I want to move into a city that does not have quality of life addressed in parks? It is engagement, it reduces crime, it gives others to do, and working with the Recreation Commission, you can imagine that will still go on. But this is where the parks can be enjoyed by all. Parks strengthen local economies, it creates jobs, people, businesses. This is a part of the equation when they want to move into a town. What is the quality of life of my workers? What will they enjoy if I sit there and open my business here? So this is a big factor, and I've listed some other things, but down at the bottom it is, this attracts home buyers. This attracts somebody that lives in another town right now and drives to work in Coffeyville, and they go back home at night. Now we would give them something to say, I want to live in Coffeyville because this can affect crime and reducing crime, and I've got some place to take my children. The next is the 20% of historic downtown. This would be, if approved by the public, These are some programs that will be offered in the first 5 years of the sales tax. Those would be facade, construction, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing improvements to the buildings downtown. It is a performance-based, but they can be existing owners of the building and utilize this program. It will, and it's not a great amount because we're limited funds, but it does sit there and offer them that they can, based on their need, choose any of those 5 programs, and it's only awarded once, but each year. So they could start off, instead of a facade improvement, they could start off with a plumbing need for that building. But they wouldn't get that plumbing need ever again for that building. So this gives it, then of course there's the historical downtown grant, and that is for improvements that you deem, that is to bring back Coffeyville as an attraction. That is something that would be up to the city commission going forward. And last are downtown area improvements. This is where we take those funds and we apply it for, say, a downtown streetscape for downtown through KDOT. There is a grant match. There is a match to that. And those are what those funds would be for. Those would be if we wanted to do something more to downtown. And that takes over at the end of the 5 years. That fund then goes into downtown revitalization, where we look for anything that is available to us to improve downtown. So this is a work in progress. It's 10 years, but it does have a budget. In that way, people know how the money is and what's going. The good thing is the more that it is carried over, the more good that we can do. And that's through all these programs. To ask why historic downtown is important, I've listed up there that downtown is a symbol of the community, the economic life. It is one of those, it does give a sense of place for Coffeyville. It is downtown, and you can imagine if it's growing and open, it creates jobs. They collect sales tax. These are things that make a city and why downtown is so important. Now, it doesn't mean we forget about everybody outside of downtown, but it does add an attraction to downtown, which is when people come and visit us and spend their dollars, be sure to go to downtown and see what's going on down there. It is a vibrant downtown, does reduce sprawl. It is one of those that it does an evaluation of homes around downtown increase with downtown activity. And it is one of those, and this goes back to housing, is we'll never be able to sit there and say that we have all the big boxes in Coffeyville. But how many times do you hear professionals say, well, I don't want to live there because they don't have a certain big box. I'd have to travel. I'd rather live in Owasso. Well, with this change of life because of the pandemic, it is attractive to live here. And the good thing is if you really need something bad and you need that big box real bad, you're talking about a possibility of a 35-minute drive, a 60-minute drive, or a 60-minute drive going south. And you can drive further if you want to go north, but it is one of those, the more we do to Coffeyville, the more that people can't start really thinking of, why don't I live in Coffeyville? This is a town that is of good people. It is one of those that tough people. Geez, I've never seen so many tough people. And no matter what happens, I want to say Coffeyville wobbles, but it never falls down. It is one of those, that is the good thing about Coffeyville, and I will always say that is attractive to Coffeyville. The more in population, which I've been asked, what is the key to Coffeyville's future? And I can say it in one sum, is population. Now, you have to chicken the egg, you have to have housing to get that population. You have to have quality of life, which is parks, and then you have to have something attracting for shopping besides those, and that is downtown. So I think Commission, in your review over this, has put all these three together to truly say that this is a sales tax for Coffeyville. This is not, which we need, this is not a street. This is not for something else. This is truly everyone benefits from one way or the other. And because of housing, we are going to look at HUD programs. You know, with the past, there was a question of HUD. Those are things that we want to get into. And with that is investment in Coffeyville. And affordable housing is very profitable. So we will reach out, and we don't mind if investors are from Wichita or from Tulsa or from anywhere else, as long as they invest in Coffeyville. So these are the reasons why it is one of those that I think before you tonight is to put this question before the voters. I think the commission was wise in making a selection that truly can touch all of Coffeyville for the future. We know we have to address, and we've heard that our population count is going to go down. I think all of us have heard that. Congressman Peck made a point to say that. So what can we do to change that direction? And that's truly this half cent. Truly says that Coffeyville wants to do something. And as I said, this is just repurposing. When you go buy something, when you go to a restaurant and you get dinner, you are not going to notice any difference in that bill. And that is a great thing, and you put it with a third of everything that's been talked about and seen tonight is paid for by people that visit Coffeyville. And why wouldn't we want to take advantage of that? So that's all I've got. I appreciate your time. And I'll let Mayor take over.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
I do have a question to ask, because I'm trying to put this in perspective for people. So on the parks, because I
Yes.
can't read it,
Yes.
but if we had it before, what is the cost? I just want to know, what was the dollar figure put on Sycamore Park?
Sycamore Park, I believe, is
Okay.
$260,000.
Okay, so 260, okay. So when I look at the reports that Stephanie sends us and that are in our packets for everybody to see, this particular 1 cent sales tax so far, half cent I mean, has generated for the first 7 months of the year, $516,000.
Yes.
So average that out, that's 73,000. So taking those proportions of 40, 40, 20, so in the first year, should this pass, we would have we will be able to accumulate 354,000, providing the amount stay the same. This is just,
Well,
354 for parks.
yes, it is
354
assumed that we
Yes.
collect 800,000 for half
Right,
cent.
I'm just leaving
Yes.
it like
Yes,
that. Because some
yes.
of our months this
Yes.
year have been lower, so I'm going to play it on the
Yes.
safe side and
Yes.
not, yes,
Yeah.
if we get more, great. But
Yeah.
354 for parks, 354 for housing, and 177,000 for downtown.
Yes.
So just so that people will understand that
Yes.
that's the dollars that can be accumulated.
Yes.
So you would have Sycamore Park, new, whatever you're going to add there on that list,
Yes.
it can be done. the first year.
Yes,
Fully funded.
With, fully funded,
Yep.
with a little left
yes.
over.
And each
And-
park will be allowed 1 year to complete
complete.
as we move through this.
Okay,
So by the end of that year, before we move on to the next park, this will be done. This will be done.
Now, there will be a bit of a waiting period to let funds build in that first, right?
Yes,
So-
what we will
so-
probably do in the first year is, and we will go through, is that because these are pieces of equipment and we want to start, we will go by phase as that money is. And we will do that for each, as we go through this, over the period of year collecting and sitting there and saying, I give this as an example, we will do the playground. Then after that, we will do the benches. We will do the shelters. And we will move through this as we collect that fund. So the first full year would be 2023 of collection.
Right.
So you will see all these improvements going on to Sycamore Park throughout the year. And there does come a point where, of course, they can enjoy it, what we have done.
Sure. But the point is, you're actually starting out with a zero-sum.
Yes.
game,
Yes.
so
Yes.
You have to,
Nothing.
you have to
But I
allow
think
that to
instead
build as
of,
it-
we've
yeah.
chosen, and that is, for programs to pay as you go, we've chosen to sit there instead of waiting till the end of '23 and then start building it in '24, we'll actually pay as we go, so this can start as soon as possible.
I think it's also important to point out from the housing aspect and even the downtown aspect of this. So, one of the big issues we've faced as our population's declined is our assessed value has declined
Yes.
along with that. And over the last 3 years, we've lost around $4 million in assessed value within the city
Yeah.
limits. So by doing housing construction, by improving buildings downtown, you start to correct that piece of the puzzle as well. So everybody always wants to know what their mill levy is going to be. Well, the mill levy is based off of your assessed value. So if you can improve your assessed value, that mill levy goes down, as long as you're taking the same
Yeah.
dollars, right? So when people want to know about their property taxes, this will greatly help you in your property taxes as well. So
The valuation is, and what we have, and usually in government, if your valuation goes down, is you recoup that by raising the mill levy to counterbalance it. During the Great Recession, most cities countered that. And that's why they came up with the mill levy cap, because what went down, you countered by raising the mill levy. I give example for Hutch, is Hutch basically lost 2%, which is still a hit. But it was one of those that after that 1 year of 2009, it wasn't 8, but 2009, their valuation went right back up. So if you cover something, it is one of those, ours is, it continually goes down, which the commission has instructed staff to hold the mill levy.
Right.
That's our responsibility, and that's what the commission expects. But it is, most would counter anytime you see a valuation go down, and of course, the cap allows you to recoup that. But it is one of those, we've, through the commission, fought hard and sit there and say, we're still holding the mill levy.
well, not just through the commission. So city staff's done a great job of controlling their budgets, controlling their spends. Now, some of that is through deferment, and at some point, we're going to have to make that up. But that's where this helps that as well, so.
It gives us a fighting chance to change Coffeyville.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else?
So as we were going through it, I had some, I don't know that concerns is the right word, but for the downtown area, the other two areas are very structured. And I was happy to see what you've come up with for the downtown area. I don't want people to think that there's just this war chest of money that can just go
No.
wherever. And
No.
the fact that we have these structured programs that will help these existing businesses and these existing buildings and help make improvements, I think that's pretty important.
And as we discussed, when we communicated is we will still, each building owner, depending on their situation, what they want to do to bring them back is for some an industrial revenue bond, which is a sales tax relief, would be available. The others, another is a CID, a community improvement district. They could use that, which is a performance-based, but it is an additional 2 cents of a sales tax that can be used as for the development of the property. That one is really broad. And then, of course, there is neighborhood revitalization, and that is for commercial, which downtown, which is 100% for the first 5 years, and 50% of their property taxes of the new, taking the old and raising it up. This you will, for 5 years, be relieved from. Then it'll be 50% for the next 5 years. At the end of 10 years, you'll pay the full amount for property tax, but it is, the old theory is, you can only take one tax once. So, sales tax for construction is the IRB. CID is sales tax adding on for improvements to the building, and that could be anywhere from inventory. That is very broad. And then the last one is property tax, and that's neighborhood revitalization. So those will be offered all throughout this, and currently they can be taken advantage of today. I don't want to say that we have to wait until October 1st of 2022.
Yeah.
Those 3 things are available, but these programs would at least give an opportunity to new existing, that if they wanted to go out and improve their electrical or construction or this stuff, they could still be a part of it. It takes care of those people that are down there now, which they're faithful and they have a business, and so you don't want to forget them and say, no, this is just for the new people. So it'll be available to them also.
Very good.
Okay, that's great. Anybody have anything else?
Here, if there are no further questions, I'll move to approve resolution R21-51 as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion is made by Commissioner York, seconded by Mayor Van Oster to approve Resolution R-21-51 as presented. Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Maxon.
Aye.
Commissioner York.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dome.
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mark, for putting that
bet.
presentation together, and listening to all other ideas and so forth to get this going, hopefully.
There's been a lot of work going into
Yes.
this, and Mark's done a lion's share of that, so thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
Coffeyville is worth it.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, we have our city manager's report.
Mayor, Commissioners, I just want to thank all the departments. You know that with the heat out there, they're working wisely, and we are taking breaks, and we are making sure that employees have water. But we're still getting things done. I know I'd like to, and I apologize, before our next meeting, GRDA will be invited, if that's okay, for 5:30 to go to Feaster Park. And then, of course, we'll invite them to the meeting, but the donation up there, and we'll schedule that. But we're looking at Tuesday, the 24th at 5:30, and I'll send out another notice, but if that's okay with the commission, we would meet up there in GRDA, which GRDA believes in, Coffeyville, and like I say, their donation of that playground, and they plan on investing in the future in Coffeyville. So we've had things from CVR, we've had things from GRDA, but we plan on more for the future of Coffeyville of that public-private partnership. So, anyway, thank you, staff.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mark. Okay, moving on, we have comments from commissioners and staff. I just want to say, this past weekend was a phenomenal time in Coffeyville. There was something to do Friday night and Saturday night. And Friday night, I know the First Baptist Church, they had a movie showing again at their little park area that they have there on 8th Street, which has turned out to be very nice, and a very nice thing for the community. There was the Coffeyville Area Community Foundation's JAC group, Junior Advisory Group, that had a triathlon Saturday morning up at Feaster Park, the Aquatic Center, and so forth. And they had 25, I think, participants and a lot of families that ran in the relays together. So that was a very neat thing to see. And then that evening was the Midlands Vaught in the Ville, and that was wonderful. That was their 5th one, and I've been to all of them, and they've gotten better every year. I mean, it just tops it. So it was a great, great evening, and very good. So there's just a lot to do with Coffeyville. And also, I noticed last week the contractor that's working on the UP, what we call the UP Park, there across from the post office, and which I want to remind people, because I think there's some confusion. That park is available through a grant through the UP Railroad and private citizens' donations. Yes, the city did have something to do. They helped with assisting with their new flagpole, so that we have a border from the post office to that new flagpole coming downtown. But I know it's been delayed a little bit because of everything, but it is going to be a nice addition to downtown when it gets completed. That it's just a wonderful representation of what people in our community are trying to do to improve it and to build it up and make it attractive and a good place to be. So that's all I have to say.
Well said.
Anybody else?
So I do want to add, this week is Fair and Rodeo Week,
Yes,
so make
yes.
sure you go out and attend that as well. Just a wonderful event every year. So last year we didn't get to have the Fair and Rodeo, right? So this is a return of it, and please go out and support it and help those folks out as well. I think tonight is the LJ Jenkins bull riding, so if you're not already there, you need to be heading that way. So
Tomorrow's the parade.
tomorrow is the parade. Yep. Thursday and Friday's rodeo. So if you lack for something to do in Coffeyville right now, it's your own fault. So please go participate. I do want to congratulate CCC. So one of the former track athletes won a gold medal at the Olympic Games, Andre DeGrassi. I believe that was in the 200 meter, if I remember correctly. And he ran bronze in the 100. And did he medal in the other event, Paul? Do you know? I don't remember. But man, what a nice feather in the cap of our community college. And if you ever met that young man when he was here, he's just the nicest kid you'd ever meet. And actually was not a track person until he came here. So to be able to do that is quite an accomplishment. On a sadder note, I do want to offer condolences to former Commissioner Jim Taylor Sr. on the loss of his father, and who was also a commissioner. And so I think Jim had a post out there today. They'll have funeral announcements on that within the next couple of weeks. So, but our condolences to Jim and his family. So.
Anything else? Anybody else? Nope. Okay. We do have on the agenda to go into an executive session this evening. So I will move to recess to executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel pursuant to the open meetings exception set forth in KSA 75-4319B1. This will include also the city attorney and our city manager, and we will reconvene in the commission room in about, say, 20 minutes. Do you think that'll be okay?
That'll be fine.
Okay. So 7:50? Okay.
Second.
Motion's made by Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Bauer to recess to executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel pursuant to the open meetings exception set forth in KSA 75-4319B1 to include the city attorney and city manager to reconvene in the commission room at 7:50. Commissioner Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxon,
Aye.
Commissioner York,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Aye.
Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.